Hi guys, this is just a quick video just to go through the carb cycling and portion control. I know I've been helping a few of you out with this over the last couple of days via our Facebook group, but I know there are a few as well that just can't get their head around it. I just want to basically say that counting calories or weighing your food is not something that I recommend long term. It's just for you to do for a few days, a week maximum, for you just to really gauge how much food you're eating. You're only going, it's not all about calories, as we know. It's about the quality of those calories you put into your body that's going to lose weight. But at the end of the day, you do have to have a calorie deficit with those good foods in order for you to keep plummeting weight. So for some that are just starting out, putting all this good stuff into their body is enough for you to lose weight, but eventually you will hit a plateau. For those of you that have been working for us a long time, you need to make sure that you get this portion control and calorie deficit absolutely spot on. Otherwise, you're going to be a little bit disappointed with the results, because you could go from you might not lose the two dress sizes that otherwise you would. So this is absolutely key for you to get your head around, for you to get the results that you want. Okay, so basically the first thing you need to be doing, all right, is going to your manuals and calculating how much you weigh in pounds. So you should already have that anyway, but you need to know what your weight is in pounds. Okay. And you need to know your fat percentage. Obviously, this has been calculated for you. If you haven't done this yet, you should have. You should have done it twice by now. But if you haven't done it, make sure you come in and get it done. Then you need to calculate your lean body mass from that percentage. So let's do this calculation for you. I'll give you an example of how you do this. So let's say that you weigh, well, I weigh 181 pounds, right? And my body fat percentage is 11%. So you should both have those figures there. Now, you need to work out what your fat weight is. So that's an easy calculation. 11% of 181 equals 19.9 pounds of fat on my body. So in order to calculate my lean body mass, I can just take that fat weight away from my total weight to give me a lean body mass figure there of 161.1 pounds. Okay, really, really simple mathematics. I'm sure you will be able to do that easily. Okay, and then we get into the more complicated stuff. So you need to know what your calorie intake should be for you. Okay, and then we need to get a deficit in order to lose weight. How you do that is, I only want you to take it from lean body mass. All right, so therefore there's a certain calories per lean body mass that we need to look at based on your current body fat percentage on the left hand side here. So for instance, my total calorific intake should be 2,738.7 calories. How did I get there? All I did was I calculated my lean body mass, which is 161.1, times that by 17. I timed it by 17, which is the top figure here on the right, because my body fat percentage falls into this category here of 11%, which falls into here. Okay, so if let's say your lean body mass was 161.1, but you had 20% body fat, what you would have to do is you would multiply your 161.1 by 14 instead of 17, and that will give you your calorie deficit, for maintenance. Okay, because the more lean tissue, basically what you've got to remember, it's not just about total mass, it's about the amount of lean body mass that you have. Lean body mass is what is your fat metabolizer, so that's going to burn much more calories than fat itself. All right, so we work out on lean body mass, and after all, that's what we're trying to gain. We're trying to gain a little lean body mass, and we're trying to shift fat. So it'll be a different calculation to you've done ever before, because I'm not concerned about total mass, only to work out your percentage and get your lean body mass, which is up here, your lean body mass. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense, and you will know your daily calorific intake, you'll know your lean body mass based on those calculations. Simple. Right, then we'll move on. So low carb. Now low carb, basically what you've got to remember is what your lean body mass is, and you've also got to understand that protein, fat and carbohydrate have a different number of calories per gram. So 1 gram of protein is equivalent to 4 calories. 1 gram of fat is equivalent to 9 calories, 1 gram of carbohydrate is equivalent to 4 calories. Okay, you need to know that so you can work out your calculations for how much protein, fat, and carbs you're going to have on your daily cycles. So on a low carb day, we're not concerned about anything else apart from the protein, because you're going to have protein and vegetables. All right. You want to be having around about 1.5 grams per pound of lean body mass. So for me, my lean body mass is 161.1, and you need to calculate what 1.5 grams of that is. Okay, so for instance, 1.5 times by 161.1 equals 241.65 grams. So I now know that I'm going to be needing 241 grams of protein daily. What is that in calories? Basically, we know that, as it says up here, 4 calories per gram. So you divide that by 4. And so it should be divided by 4, and you get 966.6. Okay? Simples. Alright, so that's how many calories, protein calories I'll be having, and that's how many grams of protein I will be having. Alright, on a daily basis, on my low carb days, so 3 days of the week. I want to be making sure I do that. Now, you don't have to weigh out all your food. Once you have this you just have this really as a measure for you, a way of measuring to see if it's going well. You can then use an app on your phone, or you can just use it on the computer called MyFitnessPal. You put in your food, and that will measure out what your grams and what your percentages are, and you can match that to your calculations that you get from here. Okay, it's going to take you about 5-10 minutes to do, but this 5 or 10 minutes is the difference between losing 2 dress sizes or being frustrated that you've only lost half a dress size. Okay, so this is something that you're going to have to get your head around. It's a very small part of the program, but going forward it makes things so much easier. So let's look at your moderate carb day then, because on a moderate carb day we are actually looking at your protein, fat and carbohydrate. Now this is what we want to be eating generally. 30% of your food needs to be from protein, 30% from fat and 40% from carbohydrate. Now we already know that our calorie intake is 2,738.7 based on our first calculations. So all we need to do is work out what our calories and what our grams are for each of these. So because 30% of these calories are going to come from protein, you simply times it by 0.3, and that will give you how many calories you're going to get from protein. Do the same for fat, and then multiply it by 0.4 to get your calories for carbohydrate, because that one's 40%. Okay? So all it is your total calories times by 30, times by 30, times by 40 will give you your calorie intake of each of those macronutrients. To work it out in grams, you simply divide this number, so you divide your calories by the amount of calories per gram as we did before. So you divide, for protein you divide by 4, for fats you divide by 9, and carbohydrates again you divide by 4. So this gives us the calories for each of these macronutrients and the grams for each of those macronutrients. Okay, I'll leave it up there just for a second just so you can get your head around it. Basically, get your total calories, times it by the percentage of your macronutrient breakdown, and then divide that by the number of calories per gram of each of the macronutrients. Alright? For high carb then, it's exactly the same, it's just that our macronutrient proportions are different. The protein remains the same, it's still 30%, so that is exactly the same. 821 calories and 205 where's the high carb gone? Sorry. 821 calories and 205.4 grams of protein. Fat has gone down to 20% from 30, and carbohydrates gone up to 50% from 40. So the only difference here is you times it by 0.2 and you times it by 0.5. So your calories for each of those are different to your mod carb. And then you do exactly the same. So these figures here, divide it by 4, 9, and 4 to get your grams for each of them. Okay, it really is as simple as that. It's all you need to do. Okay, so read this through, play this video through again if you're still unsure. But basically, that's it. Okay, then put your food you're eating into myfitnesspal.com and make sure that you're as close to that as you can be. Okay, that will demonstrate to you how many calories you should be having, and then you want to have slightly less so you lose weight. It's really no more complicated than that. Just the main things you want to, this is the simple math of eating, okay? Protein and carbs, which is basically your high carb day, is where we increase muscle. We want to increase muscle, not to turn you into Arnold Schwarzenegger, but we want to increase lean tissue, which is why we train twice on your high carb day, okay? Where you're having a lot of protein and a lot of carbs. For fat loss, which is your low carb day, it's protein and vegetables. That's fat loss. The reason we don't do that every single day for maximum results is because you'll get brain fog, you'll feel tired, you'll feel fatigued, you'll have cravings. Generally, low fat diets do not work long term. And you also will lose muscle when you're trying to gain muscle to burn more fat. Okay, so if you went on a low carb diet continuously, you'd lose total weight, but you wouldn't necessarily lose fat. And what we're trying to do is lose fat, gain muscle, so that you shrink. All right, and I think most of you have got your head around that now. And obviously for maintenance is your moderate carb day, protein, fat and carbs together. That's your maintenance. But it won't be maintenance if you are new to this sort of way of eating. Simply doing that, which is how we get most of our clients to start, just eating good food, you will lose weight. But then after that, you need to be looking at doing your carb cycling patterns. All right? If you really cannot get your head around it, all right, and you don't want to use myfitnesspal.com and you just don't want to get into it at all, then there's no need to worry. You know, you can do the simple guide. Although what I would say is do this and then do your simple guide going forward. The simple guide is in your books, okay? And, you know, although calorie counting, it can be complicated and tedious, all right? And it can be inaccurate. I think we've done it quite a good way with the lean body mass, and it seems to be very effective, all right? But here's a nice, easy, simple guide for you that you've all got, because you've all got hands, and literally all you do is your palm is your protein, you clench your fist is for your vegetables at every meal, an open palm is the starchy carbs, so we're only talking about high carb day, open palm for your starchy carbs, okay? And then you're looking at your thumb for your fats. So when you're having nuts, you know, you've got your fats there. So, you know, you're only going to be having about 7 almonds, for instance, something like 5 to 7 almonds. All right, and that's it. Okay, so your hand is going to be related to your size, to your frame, so therefore you can get your portions sorted. And that's what you want to be doing going forward. But nail those calculations. Good luck with that. If you have any questions, obviously just post it on Facebook, but I'm sure now you're all going to get it. All right, thanks for listening. Cheers, guys. Bye.